Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Addington News. Darren Williams, we're back in person rather than via Zoom, which is a good thing, and things are starting to evolve in terms of who's allowed to come on course and where they're allowed to go.
Yeah, look, really starting to free up. Hopefully the Prime Minister's announcement on the 4th of April will give us even more flexibility and we'll be just about back into full vogue. But this week does feel a lot freer. Any owner can come onto the course. They need to check in at the linkway, not just the owners of people of horses that are racing this week, but any owner plus a guest with them. They'll have access to spectators, as I've had, access to the Lindau lawn, and the big bonus is access to the stables to be able to go and see their horse. Thank God.
Yes,
because that's what we wanted to do. On top of that, photos in the presentation area back, presentations back, winning owners bar back, so we can shout for people once they've had a win, which we've wanted to do for a long time, obviously. So that bit feels really good. Club members will be in their own area upstairs in Silks. And of course we've got the rugby as well here next door, Crusaders versus the Highlanders, so there's some rugby people that will be on the property as well in a separate bubble up there with our members. And yeah, those bubble situations still have to be kept separate, up to a couple of hundred instead of 100 now, so it feels good.
Yeah, so masks still in vogue indoors and you still need to have your vaccine pass.
Yep, so for this week, at this stage, definitely vaccine passes, no QR codes need to be scanned, but vaccine passes are still in vogue. And then we'll see what happens a week later where we could get a wee bit freer, but yeah, it feels good.
Yeah,
it feels great. It feels great being able to shout for an owner if they win and leaving them go and see the horses, other payers after all.
And I'll tell you what, it's been reflected in the fields, which we'll get to their preview very shortly, but when I saw these come out, this reminded me of what it was like 10, 12 years ago. 10 races, full of fields, full of horses, full of form, making it very difficult for the punters, but it gives you a great opportunity to get a decent dividend as well.
Yeah, so there's a couple of changes obviously with some of the feature races and just the movement of those, but this is still for us a premiere, and next week will be a premiere as well, and then we move to the Ratto races on Easter Saturday, so that's all positive. We've got a couple of maiden races in this program because we've lost a couple of features the way the calendar sits. And you've seen that activity where we put in $15,000 maidens and said, if you give us the horses, we will increase those to 17.5.
Bang.
They came.
Yep.
Terrific stuff. So we'll do the same thing with next week's program where we've got a $15,000 maiden. The rest of the races are all 20,000 now or more. So this week, next week and Easter Saturday, stakes are somewhere between 800,000 and 900,000, so really pleased.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've got the best trotter in the land, Sunday Sun. He resumes his battle with Bolt for Brilliance, who got his measure last time and in this race last year. Mataderos is off the front, so he'll give them something to chase too. Shan Noble's back, which is great, taking on Better Twist, who's back. There's some depth in that race. AG's White Sox is there. Pembroke Playboy is heading to the race, so looking forward to getting into the preview around those horses, and of course they'll all be back, particularly those trotters, along with Muscle Mountain and the like the following week, and Oscar Bonavina was great last week. So some of the racing we're going to have over the next 2 Friday nights at Addington leading into Easter Saturday is going to be superb.
Yeah, those trotters move to the Fred Shaw Memorial next week, a Group 1 for 100k, and as you said, Oscar Bonavina and Muscle Mountain added to that field, and the Fahey Fence Hire free-for-all this week morphs into the Coca-Cola Superstars next week, where we're going to be, that field, which is already a dozen of, are going to be joined by Kango, who's on his way down here for Arna Donnelly, plus a couple of other horses, one for the Country Cups final and another one that could be here for the Ratto races. So a lot of interest in the next few weeks.
You've got that 2-year-old fillies race as well, haven't you? Which used to be the Leonard Memorial, then become the Down by the Seaside, supported by Woodlands.
Yep, so we're hosting that this year on behalf of Cheviot. It's a Cheviot race, and hopefully it will move back to them if we can look at a change of date for them next season. So that'll be here, Woodlands support that, and we had those 2-year-olds, only a half dozen go around the other day, but there's been a few more at the trials. Mark Perkins had a few step out, and a couple more at the trials this week. So hopeful that that's another race on the card next week, a $30,000 race for the baby fillies.
All right, preview time. I mentioned how difficult it's going to be to find 10 winners. Stick with us though, because we're going to do our best.
Alrighty, let's have a look at the preview for this big night ahead of us. Race 1 gets underway at 5:19 and is the IRT Your Horse Our Passion mobile pace over 1980 metres.
Yeah, good way to kick the night off. Of course, the increased stake, Darren, has attracted a very good field. And Bubba Scrub's the one I've gone for on top. First up since the Sire Stakes on Cup Day. Thought he was excellent behind Ajira. Got off the gate very quickly, which is crucial because this is shorter, 1980, as opposed to the 2600 metres of last week. Regan Todd's team's flying. Robbie Close is driving very well. So huge number of ticks there. I think a very, very hard horse to beat, the son of He's Watching. Tempo Warrior interests me. First starter here for Denise Otley by a rock and roll dance out of an Arts Place mare. It's a pretty good cross, and the way this horse is trialled, gets off the machine good. Excellent run last time behind Don't Stop Dreaming, who's got all the wraps, 2-year-old wise out of the Mark Purden Hayden Cullen barn. Home in 56.7, 27.3 last time when finishing second. So big hope. Treasure Trail wasn't too bad, I thought, on debut. Comes up with Barrier 1, this filly by Sports Rider for Tom Baggery. I expect it to get a really economical trip, and it's hard to leave Better Be Sharp out, although barrier draw-wise, this is the first time he's had to come from something slightly awkward at his last couple anyway. So stick him in for your first fours, but I reckon the 8 Bubba Scrub's the best bet in race 1.
Race 2, the Chevron Quality Cars Trot, a standing start trot, 2,600 metres at 5:47. First leg of that early quaddie.
Yeah, it is, and Vertigo's racing so well for the McCormicks. Lawrence is handling her beautifully. She's by peak. She's got barrier 1. She can step. She'll put herself in the race, and that means you have to have her on your quaddie ticket. No good thing, but a decent sort of a chance. Sod's Law would love to have drawn the front row. Unfortunately, I have to come off a bit of a tricky draw, but in saying that, in this sort of grade, always to be respected. James Geddes, I expect, will have him in the firing line, and he's always good value, so I'm happy to play around him. Salvo's back from a northern sojourn that was pretty good, trained by Jack Harrington, this mare. Expect her to be to the fore. She's won a couple at Addington already, and Navara is going to win another race at short notice too. You need a few. Hot to Trot won its last start. Cody Banner has ability. Yeah, the list goes on here. Darren Rachmaninoff has hit form, and Martha Stewart, who's off the wide second row draw, and a lot of Damoon. I mean, you could just go on and on.
It's great, isn't it? It's they're really
race,
good
so
fields.
Mark the field, can afford it. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Take as many as you can.
Rachmaninoff and Sod's Law having a bit of a race to that 100k in stakes. They're both pretty close.
Yeah, it is. It's been a good battle, and they're a great example of the handicapping system. And if you line up enough times, mate, you'll somewhere near get to 100,000 like they have.
Race 3 is the Tyre General Fillies and Mares Mobile Pace over 2,600 metres at 6:15.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing this daughter of Raging Bull, Joe's Rock. She's been good in her last few. Excellent wins over Artie's Express and Dannemora. No reason to think that Brent Gray wouldn't bring her to Addington Raceway. Well, the first thing is he never comes unless he's got the right sort of horse, and clearly what she's shown, she's in that category. So really looking forward to seeing her. I think Kerry Maguire will take some beating in this for the Telfer team. Last time in behind Darling Me. Expect her to be pretty competitive. Cheesel's just such a wonderful mare that she is always in the fight. She does come up with the outside draw, but the 2,600 metres negates that somewhat. And Sounds of Cash bounced back with a much better performance last time, and a similar type effort from her. We'll see her in the finish. That's leaving out Glory's Delight, Coachella, Arden's Delight, Terra Maria, Manhattan, the latter pair, both out of the Bob Butt team. So again, a tricky start to the quaddie. You need a few in the second leg.
Yeah, as we said, look, if you like one Friday night, just back it, because there's going to be some lovely horses that are going to pay good money, and you'll be shaking your head at the end of the night going, why didn't they have $1 on that? Race 4 is the HRS Construction Pace, standing start over 2,600 metres, and that gets underway at 6:45.
Yeah, not making it any easier, are you, to get the early quaddie, you and B Rabbit, but I went with the outside of the second row, first starter in Rakiro Storm. If you get a chance, go and have a look at this horse's trials. There's been a lot to like about those. Last time, Rakiro Storm was too good for Swagger Man, who's clearly got ability and will win races. So I know the draw looks tricky, but just love the way this horse has been finding the line, and I give it a massive chance on an each way basis. They came for Magic Moment last week, almost got the chocolates with the increased stake for this week. I reckon the connections wouldn't have been too disappointed, to be fair. Dave Neal and of course Mark Jones himself. So I reckon from the outside front row draw, this horse will take some beating. Let's Go Ringo crawled a little bit if the draw remains the same inside second row, but has been racing well for a wee while. And Bailey's pitch is improving off the back of those 2 runs thus far for the Todd barn. But each way, Rakiro Storm, the 15 in race number 4 for me.
Last leg of the early quaddie, race 5, Fulks Investments, mobile pace, 2,600 metres, and that gets underway at 7:15.
Simple as this, Darren. If I'm going to get the quaddie, I have to find an anchor, because you've heard what I've said in the first 3 legs. I think Darling Me is that. It won't be easy for her from that draw, but again, it's 2,600 metres, so that allows them to settle and she can work her way into the race, as opposed to ending up last and there's only a mile to go and you're in a power of pain. So I think she'll win. I think she'll be really hard to beat. He's a Sport was excellent last time, fired off the gate, drew a couple of spots into where he is on Friday night, but he was strong. I'm a little bit surprised to see the blinds coming off on him. Maybe that means they're not going to fire him off the gate this week, but anyway, he's back in form, so you have to respect him. Tealor Toll's been flying. He's been obviously set for the Country Cups final and just keeps on winning down south. Be interesting to see how he fronts up here at Addington. And himself, I thought, was pretty good last time. That run was in behind Port-au-Prince down south. Addington form prior, beat Here's Herbie at its previous start. Comes up with a good draw. I haven't even mentioned McCrikey. It's won 4 of its last 5 and is absolutely flying at the moment. So another good race, and Life's a Beach has got the inside second row. But I think anchor-wise, to get that quaddie, Darren, I have to go with Darling Me. She's all class.
Race 6 is the smallest field of the night, but certainly doesn't lack anything on class. It's the Lamb and Hayward Trotters Classic, a Group 3 a handicap race over 2,600 metres. Many of these horses were in last year's event, and we're going to leave you with that video as we go out. Bolt for Brilliance, of course, come out on top on that occasion. This is the field that will be joined next week by Muscle Mountain and Oscar Bonavina. So great to have these horses on board. Great to have Bolt for Brilliance down, and of course, the horse of the year, Sunday Sun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great contest, isn't it? This week and next week. And our leading driver of all time is in town and one A.G. Hurley. So he brings his charge on a winning streak at the moment, including a win over Sunday Sun last time. Might surprise you. Well, it won't if you've watched the box seat, because the best bet of the week for me was Mataderos. And I'll stand by that because he gets in off the front here with the lesser class horses not taking their place. It's meant these horses are off the front, and Bolt for Brilliance and Sunday Sun just off the 10 metres. I think if Mataderos gets the lead here, he might stay there, and therefore he's the one to beat. Think about his record in recent times behind Sunday Sun. He got closest to him in that Dominion. And I'm just heeding the words of our leading driver, who said, I reckon if I'm in front of him one day, I might be able to beat him. That might be this week, because he's a good beginner. If he finds the front, it'd be a good test case to see whether he can, I suppose, deny the others moving maybe in a Group 1 further down the track. That's my theory, Darren. $7.50, I think it's a great price. $7.50 and $1.75. So it's your classic 2 over 3 bet. He'll definitely run in 3 for mine, and he's a great winning chance at that price. So I'll go for Mataderos over Sunday Sun and Bolt for Brilliance. Which one moves will probably aid the other one. I think they're the clear top 3 in the race. Five Wise Men continues to evolve in this grade and will continue to get better. So he's the one I reckon you have in for 4th. But yep, happy to have an each way bet all day. The classic 2 over 3 on Mataderos.
Race number 7 is the first leg of the late quaddie, the Fahey Fence Hire Free for All Mobile, a Group 3 race, another $30,000 race, 1,980 metres. And gee, to be honest, we were surprised at how many horses we got for this. And as I said earlier on, Kango is going to join them next week for the Coca-Cola Superstars Championship. But gee, there's some talent amongst these, and some real up-and-coming talent. Yeah,
I've looked at this field over and over, and the bookies didn't help me, because they've got Older Wise Guy, who disappointed last time, has been back to the trials, $5, $6.50 Cranbourne. Better Twist is favourite. Not so convinced she'll just fire to the lead here, but she may very well do. One Change missed out last time when he tried to go forward. He's drawn to the outside of Better Twist again, so it's probably the same scenario at $9. And then you got Classy Brigade and AG's White Sox. If you'd said to me a couple of years ago they'll go around $21 in a field like this, both of them, I would have said, well, you need to be taken away at the white coats. Pembroke Playboy is the best horse in the race. On the way to the race, inside second row makes it tricky for him. And Henry Hubert's been back at the trials and winning, beating stablemate Heisenberg. Have I helped you so far? Because I can't help myself here. It's just really difficult to line them up. And Sugar Me was great last time. Can get off the machine. With Shan Noble drawn beside it. His win last time was excellent. You've confirmed Natalie Rasmussen will be driving Better Twist. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, well, I think that might be the key for many punters who are having the choice, obviously. Johnny Cox will be on Shan Noble, I understand. So, yeah, I'll put Better Twist on top, but with absolutely no confidence for the Natalie Rasmussen factor. Over Pembroke Playboy, if he gets a crack behind Sugar Me, then that'll make him very competitive in that. I give Sugar Me a good chance, and I am a fan of Alton Wise Guy. So, I rate him a decent sort of a hope too. But, yeah, tricky race, great race, and a terrific build-up to that Superstars next week.
Absolutely. Race 8, second leg of that Lake Quaddy, the Garrard's Horse and Hound handicap trot, 2,600 metres, gets underway at 8:49.
Yeah, got the best 3-year-old trotter in the country here, High Grove. He's had a couple of stands, missed out in the first one, I think it was, and won a second. Look, he's the best horse in the race, but he has to come off 20 metres. Resolve will take some catching off the front. I'm going to go with Resolve on top, the mare by Andover Hall, trained by Paul Nairn, of course. 2 excellent wins at her last 2 starts. Races well at Addington, and only 4 starts, hasn't been able to win, but has been very competitive. So I'll go for Resolve on top and Highgrove second. Obviously, if Highgrove does everything right, he'll probably win, but he's got to get round the whole field, and it's a big full field. Peregrine comes to Addington Raceway again. Brett Gray doesn't turn up unless he knows his horse will be competitive, and she's pretty good. And the other one I thought was a decent sort of a chance was Time Up the Hill, who's back in form, and Cocky Milk's not the worst either. But yeah, 1:15, 15-1, that's the way I'd be playing race number 8. And this is the second leg of that Lake Quaddy, which, yep, if you get a piece of this, Darren, you set yourself up quite nicely for the weekend.
Race number 9, third leg of the Lake Quaddy, the Lanson Black Label Champagne Mobile Pace, 2,600 metres at 9:18.
I'm going with He's Tough, outside second row draw. He's good enough to win this race. He was very good last time, I thought, behind Coachella. It won't be easy from that barrier, but I reckon he's got the wood on some of these. So I'm happy to stand him out on top of Roll Your Own, who Grant Payne and Blair Orange combined with last time and did so quite nicely. Had been luckless at so many runs prior to that. I don't know that this is a huge step up in grade for him. So I reckon he'll be very hard to beat. Lockhart Shard, he's a handy racehorse. You'd like to own him every time you go to the races. You're picking up money. Probably just lacks a bit of class, and he might get home in this race, but I wouldn't want to be labelling him at that. And Lose Deal has been excellent in its 2 Southern wins. Isn't it great to have the old days, the Southerners coming up and having a crack at Addington Raceway around a carnival? And this is another example of one of those. So, yeah, it's a tricky race, but I'm happy to be each way 14. He's tough.
The last race of the night, an exciting night, the first Direct Taxis Pace, a standing start 2,600 metre race, 9:49.
Is it 2,600? Oh,
2,000 metres, I beg your pardon. 2,000 metres.
Thanks, because I just looked at my book and I thought, oh, maybe they printed it wrong. Yeah, thanks very much to you and B Rabbit as well, because a 2,000 metre stand at the back end of this quaddie, it doesn't make it any easier. I'm happy to be with Woodley Diego. Now, that might surprise you, but manners are good, steps quickly, wide front row draw, always a big plus for me, and has been racing really well. Excellent third last time behind Lance Wood-Louis. I'm happy to have Woodley Diego on my quaddie ticket anyway. Big chance of winning the race. The 14, which is Celsi Bill, first up win, very good, outstanding at Oamaru last Sunday, storming home in behind Wolfenstein, the local. So with any luck, Celsi Bill for the Mark Jones team. Out of My Ways won 2 of 3 pacing. We know what his exploits have been as a trotter. And he's back from a cup race behind Buckskin last time. So I definitely want him in. And the mare all by myself from the Ken Barron team has to be expected to. Actually led off the second row at Rangiora a couple of starts back and won. That was fresh up. She'll be competitive in this because she'll step quickly and get herself in the fight. But yeah, Woodley Diego might find a little bit of value for you in the last.
Yeah, look, there'll be a good quaddie dividend, I think, in both quaddies. And even if the favourites are home, they're going to be paying overs in the quaddies because there's just so many combinations that people can take. Right behind you, Greg, Muscle Mountain. We're looking forward to seeing him next week. Behind me is Folklore, who was very impressive first up when she was perhaps meant to be at the trials. I think Johnny commented, gee, what's she going to be like when she's fit? So there's nothing wrong with that run last week. We're looking forward to seeing her back on track. And of course, addington.co.nz has the fields and all of the selections for you. And the Addington Facebook page on race day, we try and collect as much information as we can, put it in one place. So if there's something that tickles your fancy you want to have a look at, or have a look at some selections from around the place, whether it's be the TAB, all of that stuff's in one place. And the other thing to note, of course, is race 1 and 2 are money back races here on Friday night as part of the TAB's mini bonus splits, which is on a Friday night. So look, we're going to leave you with last year's Lamb and Hayward Trotters Classic. Just remind ourselves how good Bolt for Brilliance is. And he beat up some of the horses that he's taking on again this week. So we know what those trotters have been like. They've been a real star of the show, and they're going to be that again this week and again next week. So we'll leave you with that on the way out. And look forward to a great night.
On Sunday Sun, 3 wide, Muscle Mountain, Bolt for Brilliance going well. Sunday Sun 2.5 lengths away, he can't get him. It's Bolt for Brilliance, 120 to go. Muscle Mountain ran to second, up the inside, Vacation Hill from Sunday Sun, but it's Bolt for Brilliance. Bolt for Brilliance scores, 2 lengths, Muscle Mountain, Vacation Hill third, Sunday Sun ran fourth. Then Humble Lad, Midnight Dash, Heavyweight Hero, followed over by Smoky Mac.